In a small, secluded village surrounded by dense forests and towering mountains, a girl named Saaye, meaning shadow, lived with her parents. Saaye was their only child, and to her family, she was as precious as a rare jewel. Yet, from the day she was born, there was something unusual about her. Saaye had deep, black eyes that seemed to carry the weight of the night itself. Her demeanor was quiet and reserved, but there was an enigmatic aura about her, something that kept people at a distance. Despite her peculiarities, no one ever suspected her of being dangerous. From a young age, Saaye developed an odd habit. At night, she would sometimes rise from her bed and wander around the house in her sleep. Her parents dismissed it as harmless sleepwalking, a phase she would grow out of. But as the years passed, her nocturnal wanderings grew stranger, and their consequences far more sinister. One chilly autumn night, the lifeless body of an elderly woman named Modelet, known for her kindness and care for the villagers, was found in her garden. Her throat was bruised, as if strangled by unseen hands. Broken, dried flower petals were scattered around her. The village was gripped with fear. Such a brutal crime had never occurred in their peaceful community. Whispers spread like wildfire, but no one could identify a suspect. The mystery deepened when, just days later, the body of Iman, a brave and well-loved young man, was discovered in the village square. His eyes were wide open, frozen in terror, and his heart had inexplicably stopped beating. Once again, there were no clues left behind. One of Saaye's neighbors, a man named Sepper, began to notice something unusual. He had a habit of gazing out his window late at night, and one night, under the faint glow of moonlight, he saw Saaye. She was walking barefoot through the streets. Her eyes were closed, and her movements were eerily calm and deliberate, like someone in a trance. For a moment, Sepper thought it was merely sleepwalking, but there was something unnatural about her presence, something heavy and chilling. Sepper voiced his concerns to Saaye's parents. "I've seen her wandering the streets at night," he told them. "She's sleepwalking, but there's more to it than that. I fear something strange is happening." Saaye's father chuckled. "She's just a quiet, innocent girl. Sleepwalking is normal at her age. You're overthinking things." But Sepper couldn't shake the unease growing within him. Determined to uncover the truth, he decided to follow her the next time he saw her wandering. It was a moonless night when Sepper saw Saaye again. She emerged silently from her house, her bare feet gliding over the ground. Shadows seemed to gather around her as she moved. Keeping a safe distance, Sepper followed her, his heart pounding in his chest. Saaye stopped in front of a house. The door, locked tightly, opened effortlessly as she stepped inside. Sepper crept closer, peering through the window. Inside, Saaye approached a sleeping man. Her movements were smooth and deliberate, yet disturbingly unnatural. As Sepper watched, her hands extended unnaturally, her fingers sharpening into claw-like shapes. She wrapped them around the man's throat, and within moments, his struggling ceased. Sepper, paralyzed with fear, finally managed to scream. "Help! The killer is here." The villagers, awakened by Sepper's cries, rushed to the scene. Saaye, as if jolted from a deep sleep, collapsed to the ground, sobbing uncontrollably. She was disoriented and claimed to remember nothing. They took her to the village elder, a wise man known for his knowledge of the occult. After examining her, the elder's face darkened. "This girl is cursed," he declared. "A dark spirit has claimed her body and uses her to carry out its wicked deeds. She has no control over her actions while in its grasp." The villagers were horrified. Despite Saaye's tears and pleas, they could not risk another death. They made the difficult decision to banish her from the village. Saaye was taken deep into the forest, where an ancient crumbling temple stood. The temple, long abandoned, was said to have once been a place of worship for monks who practiced rituals to ward off evil. Now it was nothing but a desolate ruin. Her parents, devastated, left her there with heavy hearts. Saaye, now entirely alone, remained in the temple, her nights filled with endless nightmares. Each time she closed her eyes, she felt the presence of the dark spirit, lurking, waiting to seize control once again. The villagers believed they were finally free of the shadow's curse. But soon, strange occurrences began to plague the village. On some nights, soft footsteps could be heard in the streets, though no one was there. Those who heard the footsteps claimed to feel a cold, oppressive presence lingering near them. One by one, people started disappearing. Some said Saaye's spirit was returning, still under the control of the dark force, seeking new victims. Others believed the curse had never truly left the village, that it was now a part of their very shadows. And so, the village remained haunted, its people prisoners of their fear. Somewhere deep in the forest, the temple stood in silence, but if you listened closely, you might still hear the faint sound of footsteps echoing through its empty halls. The shadow walker was never truly gone.